Welcome, everybody, to my newest review for Marvel's newest movie, Thunderbolts. So, I'll be completely honest with everybody. I had absolutely no intention with reviewing this movie. I thought I would go see it, and it would be one of those things where I'm like, yeah, it was all right, and then that would be the end of it. For anybody that doesn't know, I haven't been really huge on Marvel since post Endgame. There was a few movies after Endgame that I was really very very high on and that I really enjoyed. And then after that, I don't know, they just started to, I don't know, decline for me. And it wasn't just because I didn't like any of the characters that were involved with it anymore. I was just kind of like, it's all right. I was like, I feel like I've had my build up of these 10 years for the Infinity Saga, and when that was gone, it's like just wasn't invested in a lot of the stories anymore that they were trying to do, and it just wasn't. I felt like it wasn't as done as well as it used to be done. So it's like you're ending a 10-year story and then trying to build these other characters back up again and these new characters, and it's just got to be a story that kind of pulls you in. And some of the stories in the movies did that, and others I was kind of on the fence about because I was supposed to review Captain America back in February when it came out, and I had Mad Monster and all that stuff going on, so I never got a chance to. So when it came time to see it, I was kind of like, it's no big deal. I'll catch it whenever. And I finally watched it about a month ago, and it was okay. I was like, I'll be honest, I don't even remember what the post credit scene for that movie was. It kind of just came and went, and I'm just kind of like, all right. So needless to say, I walked into Thunderbolts with absolutely no expectations at all. I had probably very low expectations, and which is sad because I really like this group of people that are in this movie. I've always liked the characters. I love the actors. So I don't know. I think maybe because I went in with such a low bar and low expectations, maybe that's why this one pleasantly surprised me. And I'll be honest, I did not expect a Marvel movie to hit me on an emotional level as much as this one did. So, trying to figure out how to describe this movie without giving anything away, because I know Marvel is very secretive, and anybody that's very excited for this, I don't want to give anything away. So, Thunderbolts is essentially about this ragtag group of people who find themselves having to work together because of a certain event that happens, and things ensue along the way with other characters, and yeah, that's I that's about really all I can say without giving a lot of the plot away. Like, I don't want to give any surprises or any twists and turns. I will start off by saying that I think this movie has a very good story. I do like the writing in it. A lot of these Marvel movies, they have a very formulaic feel to them, especially when it comes to origin stories and certain things about characters coming together. And this one, while it has a little bit of that flavor, it didn't lean on that too much because of things that happen later on in the movie that I'll get to later in this review. But they kind of it had this own sense of feel to it. Like, for me, for the majority of watching this movie, it really didn't feel like a Marvel movie to me. I mean, I heard Florence Pugh and all them describe this as, to them it was more like an A24 movie with superheroes, and I can see that, and I really appreciated that fact because it brought this new thing that we've missed for a while. It's yeah, it's like these ragtag group of heroes, but there's something very relatable about them, and it's like their own thing of coming together that I think worked really well. And there is a lot of that Marvel humor that is infused in here, but for me, a lot of it did work, and it's really more played like Red Guardian's kind of the comedic relief of this, and most of the people that have like a what do you call it, a reaction to what he's talking about. And I think it works very well. I think all the characters play off of each other very well. As I said before, all the performances are very well done in this. Like Florence Pugh, she's just incredible in anything she's in. Sebastian Stan is great again. I love seeing him come back as Bucky. And I love the thing too. I love seeing Bucky, you know, work with new people. Like, he's having to kind of take charge of this group, and it's cool to see him in a different environment. And I don't know, it's just something about these stories of these misfit characters like Guardians of the Galaxy or Suicide Squad or something like that, how if they all come together, sometimes their formula together and their camaraderie back and forth can just really make or break a movie. And I think it fits so well with this movie that I think it's A lot of people find the humor in it, but there's also a lot of heart in there as well that, again, I'll get to later on. But it's a very relatable movie. There's a element that most of these characters, if not all the characters, bring to the table that make the story so much more relatable to like everyday people. And thankfully, the humor that is in, that is infused in this doesn't really break from that. There are a few scenes where something's going on and they let it be serious for a pretty good amount of time, but then, there's a joke that's infused in there. That's something I praised Spider-Man No Way Home for, the scene with Andrew and Toby and Tom where they're having a discussion about their losses and stuff like that. It was one of my favorite parts of the movie because it let them live in this hurt. It let them live in the sadness, and you were able to soak that up without having, this joke infused in there. And while, yes, this movie does that to some extent, it does let it breathe a little bit. There are a few moments where a joke's kind of thrown in, where I wish something would have been able to breathe a little bit more. But other than that, I thought the humor was done very well, and most of it lands. This is one of the funnier Marvel movies I've seen, and by far probably the most heartfelt Marvel movie I've seen. One character I want to touch on real fast is Lewis Pullman's character, Bob. The character that he's playing in this movie, there's just so much relatability to it, and I think his performance is fantastic. He gives such this great performance of this broken person that it's incredible. He gives a very fantastic performance. Now, the biggest thing that I took away from this movie that I truly appreciated so much was the conversation and the topic that it brought up about mental health. Like there's any form of mental health, and it touches on it so perfectly that it really hit me very emotionally and really connected. Found myself very connected with a lot of the stuff in this movie. And without giving anything away, there's a scene between Yelena and Red Guardian that got me choked up. And then there's a scene near the climax of the movie that involves Bill Pullman, just his character and a certain somebody else, and Yelena. And the performance there and the dialogue that's there, yeah, that's where I think I finally, it hit me, and I literally had tears. And that I don't think that's happened in a Marvel movie. Like, I've got emotional with certain things, but I've never had it to where I was literally something hit me like this before. But this is one of those movies that I've talked about before that I love, that has something to say, and you can absolutely go see it as a Marvel movie and have fun with it as a superhero movie, or you can go into it as that, but if you really dig deep, you will definitely take something else out of this, and you'll walk away with something else other than it being just a superhero movie. That there's so much more under the surface of this movie. Just the themes of loneliness and being stuck in this everyday routine, and just finding no purpose in what you do, and feel like you're just stuck, and how they call it in the movie, like you're just in this void. And I feel like that's something everybody can relate to. You wake up in the morning and have to go to work. You come home, you have no time to yourself, and then you try to find as much time as you can in that to do a little bit something that you want to do, but it's never enough time. And then before you know it, you got to go to bed, and then you're right back to work the next day. And it's the same routine every single day, and eventually you get to the point where you're numb to it all. You don't care. Life just passes you by, and you don't care because you're numb to it. And I feel like that's a big message that everybody can take something from. But not only that, but it's really a movie that's got themes in it about your past and learning from your past. Don't let your past define you for who you are now. You might have made mistakes in the past, and we all have regrets and things that we dwell on, but that does not make, who you are now. You can change that and be a better person and be a person that you want to be. You can't let that define you. And there's a great back and forth with Bill Pullman that I don't want to give anything away, that probably if people who know the comic character or know what he's playing in the movie already know what I'm talking about. But I just again don't want to give anything away. But there's a great conversation that happens again near the end of the movie that it's back and forth with like the darkness in your mind about how there's that little voice in your head of how you'll never be good enough. You mess up everything. You're worthless. No matter what you do, it's like you belong to me and all that stuff. And and there's a great thing of overcoming that and being like, you know what, I'm stronger than you. You don't control me. And how all that, and it's so well put together. Basically the theme of this movie is there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a new tomorrow that'll happen, and the biggest thing is you're not alone. And I think that's, again, without giving anything away, that right there is what hit me when it's like, you're not alone. People go through this. People are dealing with shit every single day of their life, and we don't see it. We just see like who they pretend to be on the surface. And I love the fact that a Marvel movie had enough balls to dive into that, because most of the time movies like this, like they'll maybe sprinkle it in there, but it won't ever be as touched on it as it is in this movie. Most of the time, themes like this are movies that are just seen in independent movies, which is why I love indie movies so much. But most of the time, big blockbuster studio movies, yes, there is some that will take on a subject like this. But most of the time, especially anything with superheroes, I don't think it's dove into as much as it is in this movie. And I'm so appreciative that Marvel did that. And I'm so grateful, because to me, that made the movie a million times better. And that's also with going on of that theme that I think I love so much is it makes the characters more relatable. Like each character is going through their own thing, and you see certain parts of their past, and you see stuff that they've went through and traumas they've went through, and how these characters are just so broken, but they're trying their best to do what's right and to try to figure out the right thing to do. And again, that's something that's so relatable, and it's the thing with fighting with your past and fighting with who you've been, and it's all you think about is the negative, and you're always stuck in the void, like in this movie, the void, the negative. And it explores that so well, because it really makes you think about a lot of your own stuff, but the way that they turn that around and make it hopeful in the end it's very well done. And again, I think that's what makes these characters so well done. Like I said, not only are they the outcasts anyway, and me myself as somebody who's always been an outcast, I've always rooted for those characters more. You always root for the underdog, because you want to see them succeed and live up beyond everybody's expectations of, oh no, they could never do that, or that could never happen for them, or this or that, because of this or that, that'll never happen for them, and stuff like that. So I really like a true underdog story. And I'm so it made this big epic story with these big epic heroes almost grounded in a sense, and it gave you something that you could latch on to. Not, I mean, you always care about the characters anyway, but it gave you something even more to really to feel, to get inside and have depth for, and I'm very grateful for that. This, I feel like one of the other biggest themes in the movie was, and you'll understand this once you see the movie, but is there's no greater enemy than yourself. You're always fighting yourself every day, whether that be mentally, physically, whatever. You're always in some sort of locked battle with yourself in your head. And sometimes it takes a lot to get out of that. And like they explore in the movie, you have days where you feel invincible and incredible, and you have days where it's very dark and down and you feel like there's just no hope. And as somebody that struggles with stuff like that on a daily basis, I think that's why it hit me so hard. And yeah, I think that's what made the characters so relatable. Like I said before, they play on these themes a lot so much, but a lot of it is taken so seriously, and you're able to live in the moment and feel what they feel. And I'm grateful that they were able to hold on moments like that and not just, hurry up and get through it so you can get to the next scene or the next action set piece or anything like that. They really held on that and made you feel what they were feeling, and especially if it's stuff that you deal with and go through, you'll find yourself really, really latched on and feeling for these characters. And there is like one or two scenes, like I said earlier, that will insert a little bit of humor in. Like they held it for a pretty good amount of time, letting you feel, but then they insert some kind of humor. There's not a lot of them, thankfully, but I love the moments where it just lets you feel it and sit in it. I just think that makes your story stronger, your character stronger, and again, I know I've said this 1,000 times, but it makes everything so much more relatable. And another big thing that I really enjoyed about this movie was, I know if you guys have seen the trailer, Lewis Pullman, he plays the villain, and but it's one of those things to where you understand the villain. Marvel's been very hit or miss when it comes to villains, and I think his villain is one of the best I've seen so far. I mean, obviously there's Thanos and things like that, but they've had a few smaller ones that's come in from some of the other movies here and there, and they just weren't impactful, or they didn't really have a punch to them. But this character, you really feel, and you really are invested in him from the start of the movie, and it makes you want to know more about him, and you see his side where he's coming from, and it's all from perspective, and you see the way that his mind is twisted and warped into things that he doesn't really want to do, but it gets him there. And again, it's all between that and his play on his mental health and things like that, and you become so fully invested that you care about him as a person. So not only do you care about our heroes, but you also learn to care for him, and it creates this great dynamic of I don't want to see them have to hurt him, and I don't want to see him hurt our heroes. And so it's that great fine line where you're really pulling for both sides. Another thing I really love about it is Yelena sees that side of him. Florence Pugh's character sees that side of him, and she feels it too. So she wants to talk to him and try to figure out where he's coming from, and let him know that he's not alone in what he's going through. And I also find that so relatable because, like, while even though all this chaos and stuff is going on around him, she just wants to help in that way. And I have friends and I work with people who struggle with mental health and stuff, so I'm always been that kind of person who does that, who takes that side where it's like, let's just sit for a minute. We don't have to talk about anything, but I just want you to know that I'm here. Like, no matter what we do, even if we don't speak or we don't talk about the problem or anything, I just want you to know that I'm here. I feel what you feel, and you're not by yourself. You're not alone. And again, coming back full circle, that's really the message of this movie. That's why I feel like I had such a urge to talk about it, because especially when it hit me where I teared up and stuff, I was like, this was not expecting this in any way, shape, or form. I know I rambled on about that a lot, but I feel like that's a big, important message of this movie. But yes, the action is fantastic. A lot of great action set pieces. Like I said before, the humor is very good in the moments that it needs to be good. It's very good. The camaraderie between all the characters are fantastic. The story is very good. You're very invested in the story. You want to see what's going to happen with these characters. You want to see them succeed, but you're also worried about what can happen, what can go wrong, because you're invested in everything they're dealing with. Same with Lewis Pullman. You're invested with him and what he's going through, so you're pulling for him as well. You hope that in some way he's able to without giving anything away, that he's able to figure things out to where he don't have to go through the things he's going through. It was just a very, very different style of a superhero movie, and I really, really appreciate that coming from Marvel. And it's good that they did something different, because you've got all these, how many movies now? 30, 40 some movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not including the TV shows, and to be able to come in and bring and drop something like this in the mix, it adds a nice sense of a freshness to it, to where you're like, oh, this is cool. I haven't seen this before in this universe. This is cool. I'm on board for this. So if you're someone like me who's been very about anything Marvel the past couple of years, because trust me, I've been there. Anything Marvel that comes out now, I'm just kind of like, sure, I'll go check it out, but sure. This one is different. This one not only tackles themes of mental health, but like I said, it's got a really good story, great characters, great character development, very, very good character development, and that's something that I've really loved about Bucky's character in particular. Like he's had such an arc from when you first saw him in the Winter Soldier until now. Like if you've watched all the movies, including the TV show leading up to this guy has had a full blown arc, and you just truly love his character. And I think it's about to happen with Yelena, and because Yelena started as a character, now she's come full circle in this thing, and that's what makes great stories and great characters, and what makes characters so relatable. And there's the other characters that are in this movie. I think we're getting to them. They're obviously things are going to happen later on, and I think that we are getting to their characters to where they will be able to have a moment like that as well, especially John Walker's character. And because, he's kind of the standoffish douchebag asshole type guy. And I think by the end of this, something kind of clicked for him. So I think it'll be cool to see what he does going forward. And I don't know, like I said, overall, it was just a really good story. And to be honest, like I've seen a lot of people talk about the post-credit scene. Don't worry, I'm not going to give anything away. I'm not going to tell anybody what it is. But I have to agree with them. I feel like this is the one post-credit scene for a Marvel movie that I've seen in a long time that actually gets me pumped for what's to come. Like now I'm actually looking forward to what Marvel's going to do. They may not all be hits like they were in the beginning, but it got me hyped up enough to where I can be like, you know what? I'm curious, and I'm with these characters, so yeah, sure, I'm curious. I'm curious what happens in Avengers: Secret Wars and Doomsday and Fantastic Four and all that stuff. It's like cool, I'm on board for that. So I want to see that, and that's honestly something that I didn't know if they were going to be able to pull me back in. And I hope it keeps with this consistency where you're like, yeah, that's cool. I do want to see what these characters do going forward. It's also really cool to see some of these characters interact with characters you never thought that you would see. So it's like it's cool to see like some of the OG characters like Bucky, for example, go along with somebody like Red Guardian and Yelena, especially like John Walker after the relationship they had in Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I think it's a cool it's a cool mix and a cool dynamic that they added in. And like I said, it leaves you just enough to where you're curious to see what's going to happen and how things are going to go forward from here. So I do highly recommend going to check this one out in the theaters. Like I said, I had no intention on reviewing this movie at all. I was just going to go see it, maybe, and just be like, yeah, wasn't bad. I have to admit, it completely caught me off guard. As I was leaving the theaters, like I said, I was not expecting to feel this kind of emotional level on a Marvel movie. So kudos to them. Please go check it out if you haven't. I think, especially with what people go through and deal with, I think legit everybody will be able to take something away from this movie. And even if you don't, if you just want to go see a fun superhero movie with action set pieces and stuff blowing up and see some of your favorite characters have this camaraderie back and forth, then by all means, you can have it that way as well. But either way, I would go check it out. And I'm sorry for the long rant on the mental health side of this video, but that's something that's really important to me and something that really, really connects with me. So that's something that I just really wanted to say and get out in this review. So please go check the movie out. Go have fun with it. Go enjoy yourselves. Go cry, maybe like I did. I think that's my review for Thunderbolts, everybody. If you like what I'm doing, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you've seen Thunderbolts and enjoyed it and connected with anything, please comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And as always, please check out any of my other reviews if you haven't for 2025. I've got quite a few of them piling up now. I'll try to leave a marker somewhere right here. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much.